What is courage? Most people misunderstand courage. They think that courage means not being afraid. That's not true. The founding fathers were afraid. The soldiers on Omaha Beach were afraid. Special operations soldiers are afraid. Single mothers are afraid. Business owners are afraid. Students are afraid. Parents are afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is doing the right thing despite fear. It's action despite uncertainty. It's moving forward when every instinct tells you to stay where you are. Greetings, team. This is Christopher Littlestone of lifeasaspecialoperation.com and specialoperationsuniversity.com. In today's video, we are going to discuss courage. We're going to take a look at courage through 4 different lenses: the founding fathers, the heroes of D-Day, President JFK, and a friend of mine. And then we're going to discuss how courage applies to your life. Let's get started. I like to say that courage is the willingness to do what's right, necessary, or honorable despite fear, uncertainty, discomfort, danger, or personal cost. There are many forms of courage. Physical courage faces danger. Moral courage faces opposition. Leadership courage faces uncertainty. Emotional courage faces vulnerability. Every courage faces life's challenges one step at a time. Let's look at some examples, starting with the founding fathers. When 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence, they weren't signing a petition. They were committing treason against the most powerful empire on earth. If they failed, they would lose their property, their freedom, and even their lives. Yet they signed anyways. Why? Because they believed that some things were worth risking everything for: freedom, liberty, self-government. They had moral courage, not physical courage, and sometimes moral courage is even harder. They knew there would be sacrifices. Several lost their homes, fortunes, businesses, and family members during the war. Many spent years in constant danger and uncertainty. They saw their property destroyed or looted, yet they signed anyways because they believed that liberty was worth the risk. Imagine if they hadn't. America as we know it might have never existed. Their courage changed the course of history. I've been scared before. I've jumped out of airplanes. I've been to war. I've sat in aircraft wondering what would happen next. I've felt uncertainty. I've felt fear. But it's hard to fathom what it must have felt like when the ramp dropped on those landing craft. Cold water, machine gun fire, open sand, chaos, death, and then the cliffs. Imagine looking up at those cliffs and knowing that you had to climb them. That's courage. When I was in high school, I read a book by President John F. Kennedy called Profiles in Courage. I assumed that it would mostly be a book about battlefield heroics, war stories, and physical courage. After all, Kennedy himself had served in World War II as the commander of PT-109, surviving after his patrol boat was cut in half by a Japanese destroyer. Years later, while recovering from major back surgery and dealing with significant health challenges, he used that period of recovery to work on the book. What surprised me was that the book was not primarily about physical courage at all. Instead, it focused on moral courage, political courage, and the difficult decisions that leaders must make when doing the right thing is unpopular. It explores elected officials who risked their careers, reputations, and political futures because they believed principle mattered more than popularity. As a young man, I found that incredibly insightful. The book helped me to understand that courage is not always charging a machine gun nest or storming a beach. Sometimes courage is standing alone, telling the truth, accepting criticism, and doing what you believe is right despite enormous pressure. I highly recommend the book. There's only 2 other men from my university class who went on to become Green Berets. One of them was Michael. I've known him for more than 30 years. We went through many of the same experiences as young officers, and over the years our paths have crossed several times, including deployments to Afghanistan as both captains and later as majors. I remember linking up with Michael in Afghanistan shortly after he had been involved in a major firefight while accompanying a partner nation force on a mission. When I saw him, he didn't talk about the battle. He didn't talk about himself. He didn't talk about heroics. He was simply happy to see an old friend. A few minutes later, however, I ran into his team sergeant. He pulled me aside and said, "Whoa, that was intense. I can't believe we fought through that ambush. It was like Mogadishu. Michael was a true hero. Years later, I learned that Michael was awarded a Bronze Star with Valor for his actions that day, but he never told me about it, not once. He was courageous, and that's what courageous people do. They don't focus on the recognition, they focus on the mission. They fight through fear because they believe in something larger than themselves. In this case, it was helping build a more secure Afghanistan. In other cases, it's building a stronger state, directing the United Nations, and making the world a better place. The truly courageous are often the least interested in talking about their courage. They simply do what needs to be done and they move forward. But here's the most important point. Most of us will never storm a beach. Most of us will never jump out of an airplane into combat. Most of us will never sign the Declaration of Independence. Yet courage is still required, every single day. The single mother working 2 jobs. The father carrying burdens that nobody sees. The student studying late at night. The entrepreneur trying again after another setback. The young man refusing to compromise his integrity. Different battlefields, same courage. The good news is that courage can be developed, just like fitness, just like leadership, just like mental toughness. You build courage by doing difficult things. You tell the truth when it would be easier to lie. You have the hard conversation. You take responsibility. You do what you know is right, one decision at a time, one day at a time, one challenge at a time, and eventually courage becomes part of who you are. If you enjoyed this discussion and would like to learn more about courage, courage is one of the key mindsets that I discuss in my Special Operations Mindset book and course. It's available as an ebook, paperback, audiobook, and a 5-hour online course through Special Operations University. Links are in the description. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with 3 questions. What beachhead are you avoiding? What cliffs are you afraid of? And what would happen if you took one step forward today? Because courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. Sign the declaration. Get off the landing craft. Scale the cliff. Fight through the ambush. Move forward and become the hero in the story of your life. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to join my Life as a Special Operations team. And be sure to share this video with a friend or family member who might need a little bit of encouragement. Life is a special operation. Are you ready for it?